Hello, today is April 11th, 2016. My name is Janae Burton, and I'm joined by Belinda Dancil, who is a U.S. Army veteran. So it said that you were born in New Jersey, but did you grow up there?
I partly grew up there, and then I moved down south to North Carolina.
Yeah, I saw that you went to high school in North Carolina. Did you enjoy it there?
Sometimes no, sometimes yeah. It was very racist down here.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you have to deal with often?
I dealt with racist teachers most of the time when I was in school, so I actually had to set them straight, basically divide them. Because they actually used my race against me, and they actually, because of my skin color, they automatically thought I was black, and I'm not black.
Yeah, it said you were mixed with 5 races, so they just assumed that.
Yeah, that I was just black, and that's how they're ignorant and racist. There's a lot of ignorance and racist.
And you were younger. How old were you when you were dealing with this?
I was like I moved down south when I was 8.
Oh, okay. So it was from a young age. When did you move up here?
Oh, after I got out of the military.
Oh, okay. So did you deal with that, like when it came to racism, from your childhood to your adulthood?
It kind of got a little bit better, but like when I hit high school, I didn't have to like deal with that as much because they actually handpicked the teachers to actually teach at the high school that I went to. Because at first, the middle school I was at was the high school, but they combined 2 school districts, and then actually had everybody. The two schools from those 2 districts had went to that high school, so they handpicked the teachers that wasn't like troublesome and that was actually helpful to the students. Okay. So high school was a lot better. Okay, that's good to hear. When you were a child, did you think you'd be in the military? No, I've always thought about it. And I always thought it was possible. So kind of, yeah. Okay. And I see that your father was in law enforcement and the military. Is that correct? Yeah. Has he influenced you at all? It's just the way he raised me, and it's the influence in raising me and how to be disciplined and civilized and basically how to carry myself. So you felt like from a young age, like this is where your life was headed, straight to the military? No, not really. I had other dreams and other plans. So what were your other dreams? I went to college too. I went to college first. I graduated high school, went to college in Johnson Wales University, and I got my culinary arts degree, and then I went off to Job Corps because I couldn't afford to get my baking and pastry certification, so I ended up going to Job Corps, and I found a Job Corps that gave my baking and pastry certification on a college level and not a high school level. Oh wow. So I had to like literally sift through to find out which one would actually suit me and actually go hand in hand with my college degree, instead of me having a college degree and then the baking and pastry certification on a high school level. That really okay, so like went together with that. And how long after that did you go to the military? Oh, after I got finished with Job Corps, I joined the military right after. Okay, you went straight to the military? Were you nervous when you joined? No, kinda, yeah, kinda no, because I halfway knew what I was getting myself into, and halfway not, because my father went in at a different time, my brother went in at a different time. So I kinda knew, and my brother-in-law, he was in a different branch. So I kinda halfway knew what to expect, but not really. Okay. What was most surprising when it came to joining the military? Like what happened that you completely didn't expect? Oh, because I know they actually were supposed to like cut out like coming down on soldiers in basic training, which they still did because they were transferring over from old school military to new school. And so therefore I joined in the time of transition, basically. Oh, okay. So they were still trying to adapt to that, so of not going off on soldiers, which they did, because after my basic training class, they hand out stress cards. I'm like, what is a stress card? They're like, oh, all you have to do is raise it and sit here and say, oh, the drill sergeant's stressing me out. It's like, really? I didn't get one of those. Do you feel like that would have been way more helpful while you were there? Actually, yeah, to an extent, but then again, no, because it's a hindrance too, because it actually stops you from basically seeing how far you can go and pushing yourself without those limitations. I consider that a limitation. Okay. Other than that, how was basic training? Oh, it was basic. They actually had we had a good times. I remember our bay NCO, which we actually has a designated soldier that actually is like in charge of the bay. And I remember this. Every morning we got up. In order for her to get everybody out the bed, she stayed 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And I'm so serious. By like 38, people was like, I wish you would shut up. Everybody got up out the bed.
And that got them up.
It was annoying, but at the same time, I remember she actually did make it to 1 bottle of beer. That was like one time. Because people was just like covering their ears. Everything else, trying to avoid it, but it was funny.
Okay.
That's one of the things I do remember.
So I saw on your form that you did E4 to E5, and I did not know what that meant. So I looked it up, and then it was saying something about that if you had 4 years in college and then you get brought to a sergeant. Can you just explain what that is a little bit?
Okay. I actually came in with my college degree, and I was supposed to come in like a fuzzy with no rank at all. That's what we call a fuzzy, or just a patch. And I was supposed to come in like that, but I had my college degree and everything, and they just now started transitioning over, like I said, from old school to new school. So they were giving people who were coming in credit for going to college. So therefore, the credit that they gave is rank. So I was supposed to go to E3, but like I said, the rules were changing down to the point the person who was giving me the rank had to look it up to make sure that he wasn't like jipping me out of a rank, which he was. He found out that I was supposed to get E4. So E4 is specialist. You go in as a specialist, and after you get a college degree, they count your college degree towards basically the military as experience coming in. So therefore, if you got experience coming in, it's not combat experience or military experience, but you got experience in the field that you're going into, which I went into as a 92 golf food service specialist. So I was putting my degree to use in the military, getting military experience.
Okay.
And so therefore, that's how I moved up to E4. And then after you being in the rank, well, I actually got expedited because I hadn't been in that rank for 4 years. I was in that rank for like a year, and then I got expedited to E5. And yeah, you can actually move up quickly in ranks if you're actually like on point with your stuff, and actually what we call it a hoa soldier. Somebody that's always there on time, in the right uniform, doing the right thing every time, and not causing a problem, not getting in trouble, not getting a company grade or field grade Article 15.
And what are fail grades?
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and break that down. A company grade is like, okay, if you get in trouble, say that you got drunk, real belligerent, got a fight into a club, something like that. This is just a scenario. But you turn around and you end up on a blotter report, which if a soldier gets in trouble, the cops get called. Therefore, all the information says the cops can't do anything to you except transfer your paperwork over to the MPs, which is the military police. We have our own police, basically, that polices us up. So the civilian police really can't touch us except for like, okay, well, we're going to have to just put you in a holding cell and wait for your MPs from your unit to come get you, because that's basically all they can do. And then that's where our punishment comes in at from our unit, which is a company grade, which you actually can either lose rank or keep rank, or you can lose pay or keep your pay. It's either depending on the rank or the pay. And you don't lose rank. You just get suspended for 3 months before you can actually be up for promotion. Okay. That's what a company grade is. A field grade, on the other hand, is a little bit more crucial. They take your rank, they take your money, give you 45 extra days of duty, and 45 days of restriction. So you can't leave post. All you can do is go to work, go to extra duty, go home. And then on top of that, they take about a month and a half of your pay and your rank. So you really have to really mess up in order for you to get a field grade.
So you were talking about getting promoted. Is that something you wanted? Like, did you want to move up in rank?
Oh yeah, that's the way we're trained. That's the way we're brought up in the military. Because it's like, okay, they strip you of your civilian ways once you go through basic and AIT, and then they instill you with the military ways and the stuff of how they want you to conduct yourself as a soldier. So when it comes down to that, it's like when it comes down to that, they consider that, and they consider all of that before they actually decide whether or not they want to move you up and give you a promotion. And if you're actually wanting that promotion, then you're going to do stuff and basically take care of the classes, because you have to meet a certain amount of points before you can even get your E5. And mine was 365 points that I had to meet.
Okay.
And so I was already gaining points in between there, and then turn around to go to the promotion board. That is like, I think 30 or 40 points right there. And then your awards count as points. If you did really well on your PT test, those can count as points. Your weapons card, if you actually qualified, and after you actually qualified with your weapon and actually zeroed your weapon to yourself, because you have to actually line your weapon up to you. So that's what they call zeroing, when you're lining your weapon up to you, to your eyesight.
Okay.
So therefore, your weapon that is assigned to you, that's the weapon that you're going to use until you leave that unit.
Were you assigned a weapon?
I was always assigned a weapon. You always get assigned a weapon. That is like your husband or your wife downrange. You will never go nowhere without it. And so, yeah, I did want to move up, but I did stuff to actually indicate that I wanted to move up. And actually, it's more pay, more responsibility, but the pay is worth it.
So you enjoyed it? Okay, that's good. So you were a food service specialist. Can you tell me what that is?
Okay, it's like you go cook in DFAC, or the cafeteria, as the civilians call it. And we call it the DFAC. I forgot, we use a lot of acronyms in the military, so I don't understand. I forgot over half the acronyms. But it's like a cafeteria for soldiers and civilians that work for the military. But they actually pay to actually eat, while the rest of us just show our ID, because we don't have to pay to eat. But it's like when you go in there in the morning. Well, what I did, I went in there in the morning. We actually line up for cook's mount, which is to get your uniform inspected and make sure your uniform isn't dirty, make sure it's clean, pressed, rank is in the right place and shined. And then you also have to make sure your sleeves has the crease in it. Collar has the crease in it, down to the point front of your pants have to have the crease in it. They were like this, and you were all you were all in dress whites and black shoes or black boots, and your shoes or your boots had to be shined.
Did you find keeping up with that difficult?
No, because I actually got a routine into doing it. So after I got off work, I go ahead and get my uniform straight for the next day.
Okay.
And then set my alarm, and that's how I did it every time I had to go to work. So by the time I got up the next day, all I had to do was my personal hygiene, put on my uniform, and go to work.
Okay, so you had a good schedule and it was concise. Where were you deployed to first?
Iraq. I was deployed to Baghdad, Iraq, 5 Loyalty, where no soldiers were supposed to be at that time. It was on the World News and CNN. I called it a suicide mission because we weren't supposed to be over there.
Wow.
Yep, and it was over there for 15 months. I actually didn't think, at certain points in times, I actually didn't think I was going to make it back. I almost got killed a few times, almost. Close calls.
Are you comfortable with talking about that?
What do you want to know? What is your particular questions about that? Because it cannot be vague and cannot be broad. So it have to be specific.
Specific. You like specific questions,
Yeah.
concise. I can tell. You like your form. When you were there and you say you were almost killed, was it by people that were there, people you were protecting them from?
It was mostly the people, the Iraqi people who did not want us there. They had like the militant, Iraqi militant, which is like straight for Iraq, nothing but for Iraq. They used to have, well, they still have them, called the Sons of Iraq. They actually used to be for Iraq until they actually started seeing exactly what the leaders were doing to the people. So they switched sides and they joined us. And so they were no longer a threat, and they actually joined our side, and actually was our gave us info on certain things that we didn't know about that was coming up and stuff like that. So they actually helped us out and actually basically switched sides and joined for the right reason.
Okay, so while you were there, they started off against you, and then they joined with you?
Yeah, because they actually started seeing about like the leaders and what they were doing to the Iraqi people and stuff like that, and so it was crazy. Then they had what we call the bomb squad, because they actually had a bomb squad from they actually had a couple of bomb squads from Iran, and also a couple of bomb squads that they actually trained in Afghanistan to the training camps that they send the little kids off to go train, and then they bring them back, and then they're like killers. And so that's the reason why we're in Afghanistan right now, trying to shut down those concentration camps too, because that's where most of the bomb squads and actually the sharpshooters or the snipers was coming from.
From right there in Baghdad, from those camps.
Yeah, from those camps in Afghanistan, and some of the people that they already trained and sent back to Baghdad. Yeah, so like I said, almost got killed a few times, but I actually worked off the 5 a lot too, so therefore my life was more at risk than the person who's actually a 5-ed, what we call a 5-ed person who stays on 5 and works on the 5 and don't leave 5. So I'm one of the ones that actually work off the 5 every day. So therefore I have to encounter all those people before they even go through the gate, before they even get to the reception area. You have to come to the gate and they have to get through me before they go to the reception area. So I dealt with all different types of stuff. I dealt with this woman who came in, did not know they could make a gun out of a pen. Did not know that. Turn around, this woman who came in, and I actually checked her. I checked her and everything, and told her to take everything out of her pockets so I can actually put her up to the rapid scan so I can check her. So she took everything out of her pockets, laid it on the table. I told her to walk up to the rapid scan, and the machine is like right here. But it's like a wall that's behind the machine. You have to walk behind and go in the other room and then press the buttons so you can see exactly what's on that person. Even if they got clothes on, you can still see if they're carrying anything. That's what the rapid scan machine is, to actually see what they're carrying on their person. And so she didn't have anything on her. So what I usually do after I check them and rapid scan them, then I actually go through their stuff to make sure that they're not carrying something that can actually kill somebody or actually place somebody's life in danger, especially if they're out to get one of the other Iraqis that work on the Bob, in which that has happened. And so therefore that causes us to actually tighten up on the security and to make sure that when we send them into work, they're going into work and not having intentions on try to kill somebody or an American that's on the Bob. Because we also have American contractors who work over there, who work for different military companies and stuff like that. And so we have the soldiers, then we have the American contractors, and then we have the Iraqi civilians. So those are the 3 main people, or 3 main groups that are actually on the 5 and working coincidentally with each other in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether we got the Iraqis, some of them will actually go out on missions as interpreters. And so we have to have an interpreter with us. And some of them volunteer and be like, okay, because we have nicknames for them, but some of them actually have curse words in it, so I'm not going to try. But yeah, we have nicknames for them and stuff like that, so we can know exactly who they are, and they have their ID or their military ID with their military nickname on it. Because they have like at least 10 to 12 different aliases over there, especially the women, because the women are not allowed to work. They would actually get killed if they got found out for working. So a lot of the women have over like 12, 14, 15, 16 different aliases. And I understand that because they need to work, especially if they're the sole survivor of their family. And most of the females that worked on our FOB were sole survivors of their family. So therefore, they didn't have anybody to rely on but themselves. So they had to get out there and work. But the country that they lived in would not allow it, won't allow it. And so therefore, they have to sneak and do it in order to make money. And if they get caught, they die. So it's our job, once they come to work on the FOB with us, it's our job to protect them. And I dealt with a couple of those too, when it comes down to this one woman that actually was working on the FOB, and she used to get me perfume all the time because I like this certain brand of perfume that they had, but it was so expensive in America, but it's so cheap over there. So she's like, oh yeah, I'll go get the perfume for you, this, that, and the third, because y'all protect me, so yeah, I can do that for you. So I give her the money, she go get me the perfume. But one day she came in the gate and she wasn't walking like normal. She just took off running and just like took off running to the rapid scan room. And I started paying attention to how she was acting, and I was like, something's not right. So I stopped her. I said, what's going on? I mean, because you're not acting like yourself. And that's when she told me that it was 2 guys that's been that works on the FOB that was actually chasing her down because they found out she was working and were trying to kill her. Yeah. Oh wow. That's not a game over there. It's not a game. It's actually a part of their country law, which is really messed up. But I had turned around and actually found out if they actually worked on the FOB. She said yes. So we went up to the reception area, and I pulled out all the cards for all the Iraqi men that were working on the file. And I was going through them, and I was like, okay, showing her the cards. She picked out 4 guys. It's like, okay, I put the rest of the cards back. I had to call CID, which is the Criminal Investigations Department for the military. They're the ones that do the interrogating and stuff like that when it comes down to terrorists and stuff like that. They investigate and do that with them. So I had turned them over to CID, and I ended up protecting the woman because I already know when it comes down to a female working over there, they literally have like most of the Iraqi women that I talked to over there, they had about 15, 16 different aliases for that reason.
Wow.
Yeah, because if they catch up with them like, hey, is this your name? No, this is my name. I'm this person. I don't know who that person is.
They have different like identifications with different names on them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so therefore they actually, but their picture be on their main one, and then they have their pictures on certain ones, and then they're just their name, address, and phone number on other ones. And so, but they'll go through all of those aliases for the most part. That's what one of the ladies told me. She was working for like 8 years, and she went through all 16. And she had to like recycle them, she said, and then turn around, switch her picture ID off of some of them, and put them on the other ones. And some of them would have the picture ID, some of them wouldn't. She would actually recycle it. So therefore, if they caught up with her, be like, "Hey, is this you?" She'd be like, "No, this is me right here. This is my name. This is my address." Da 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 da. And that's what protects them, and actually basically keeps them from getting killed for working.
That's really good. When it came to interpreting, because you said sometimes it was the Iraqi people that were interpreting for you, did you ever feel some sort of mistrust?
No, well, I didn't actually ask everyone. It was certain ones that were actually picked to be interpreters. They spoke English extremely well, and of course they knew their native languages too. So therefore, those are the ones that we picked to be interpreters and took out on missions. So no, actually the interpreters were the most trustworthy ones over there for the most part. Because half of them actually, their own people attacked them. We had to send them over here for refuge because they worked for us, and therefore by them working for us, they put their lives and their families' lives in danger. So therefore, they considered no man's land because they turned on their own people in their own country to help us out. And then therefore, the people gets mad and try to kill them. Therefore, we have to send them away, and send their family with them to protect them because they actually went against their own people in their own country. So basically, their whole family's like in no man's land.
Okay.
And we give them refuge here for them actually showing us loyalty.
Do you recall your first day in service?
No, yeah. I showed up to Fort Carson, Colorado at 5 in the morning in my address and my Class A's. And I didn't know what a welcome center was because Fort Carson is huge. Now it has its own zip code. It was on its way on having its own zip code before I actually PCS. But yeah, I didn't know where everything was. I actually caught a plane from Fort Jackson to Fort Carson, Colorado. Got off the plane. I already just set up my transportation and got into the van. And the guy was mad because the owner of the transportation, he actually only charged me $20 to go from the airport to Fort Carson. The guy was like, "No, it's 40." I said, "Well, he told me 20." And he kind of got mad. He said, "You always undercharging." I said, "Well, I'm a soldier. Usually that's what happens." And I said, she was like, "Oh, okay, well then yeah, you can." But then after that, it was like he was kind of weird after that because he was still kind of mad. But after I got there, I went into the welcome center and signed in, and they put me in reception, the reception area where you have to go in and actually adjust, basically go through all these classes to actually so you can actually basically sign in to post, do all the classes, and then get assigned your unit that you're going to be going to. So I was there. I was only supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but they had started this sergeant time training program for the E4s to actually, like, you get a certain amount of people and you'll have a squad. Then it's like, well, it was 4 of us, and then we end up having a squad apiece, and we had to take care of our soldiers and make sure all their paperwork and everything was squared away. And by the end of the 2 months, I had majority of the soldiers because everybody was like, people wanted to join my platoon, which was in reception. So you can actually choose if you want to stay in your platoon or join another platoon. If your NCO or your NCO wasn't treating you right and you want to join another platoon, you could. That was like in the program. And so therefore by the end of it, I had about like 22 soldiers. But yeah, that was like the first day I got there. And then they told us and we had to get our paperwork done, and then they assigned us the soldiers and we just got to work right then. And I was in reception in Sergeant Time Training Program, in Sergeant Time Training Program for 2 months in reception.
Okay. All right. Were your duties the same based on where you were deployed?
No. Because the first time I was deployed, I actually worked on the gate, and then I worked in a DFAC, and then I guarded the DFAC, and then I turned around and worked. They put me back on the gate to replace the NCO, who actually just decided to get on the chopper and just leave. That one still boggles me to this day. I don't understand why he would do that. He just like, oh, well, I'm leaving, and hopped on the chopper and just left.
And then just never came back?
Oh no, they found him,
okay.
And they brought him. They found him and they brought him back, but they put him under my E6. He's an E6, but he was under my E6, and then I got taken out of the DFAC and got put on the gate to replace him because I was the only one that knew how to work the gate. And then they took me off the gate and put me in the DFAC, and then turned around after that. They's like, oh, okay, well, he's a little bit not all the way here, so we're gonna take him off the gate and put him in the DFAC, put you on the gate. Oh yes, it was some argument going on there. One of my NCOs, he just didn't like being over there, and he started taking it out on me. I was happy to leave because I always ended up on his shift. I tried to get away from his shift, I really did, but he just wouldn't.
Okay. All right, I'm so sorry, but would you just excuse me for just a second?
Okay.
Awful spring weather is getting me sick. Alright. So when it came to where you were deployed, what place did you enjoy the most?
I actually like my second deployment better because it was in a green zone. Even though we did get mortared, but it wasn't as badly.
I'm sorry, you got what?
Mortared, bombed. The 5 got bombed. Like bomb projectiles getting thrown onto the 5. That's what we call mortar attacks, because it's like a rocket that's like they shoot at whatever direction, and it's usually come on a 5 to actually kill a mass group of people. But you're shooting on a military 5, and majority of us already know what to do, so it never works out like that. It's usually the civilians that actually get hurt majority of the time, more so than the soldiers. Even though the soldiers be there trying to protect the civilians, but sometimes they don't even listen to us because they be in a panic state, and then they take off running in a total wrong direction. We're like, hey, no, you're not, they turn around, end up getting hit. It's like, Dad, we tried to help, you know. But if it's in a panic state, you really can't do too much.
And where was your second deployment?
Oh, my second deployment was Balad, Bob Kalsu, and that was a lot better, and it was more of a 5 to down to the point there. If they actually did mortar the 5, it was so big they wouldn't hit nothing, which was really good though, because nobody got hurt.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So it says that you were in Germany. While you were in Germany, did you interact with the local population?
I worked with the German civilians. They actually have the German cooks. They contract out the German cooks, and we worked side by side with them. So I learned how to speak some German.
I was just about to ask if you spoke any German.
Yes, I learned how to speak some German. I learned how to I learned basically how they move in their society for the most part. Is basically what I learned and picked up. And they're really clean over there. Their country is really clean. They actually recycle everything that can be recycled.
Really?
Yeah, unlike us over here.
I would say, would you say like it's a big difference comparing Germany and America?
Yes, because Germany, for the most part, is very clean. Very, very clean. Very beautiful. Very nice. Then you can just take a ride on the countryside. You won't see no trash on the road.
Okay, well, that's...
Yeah, you won't see no trash on the side of the road. You won't see any trashes in the ditches. You won't see... No, it's just they actually take care of their country, and they are really big on recycling. Really big on recycling, even compost. They're really big on recycling food, as far as using it to help grow more food. So they're actually pretty clean for a country, and they actually are really huge on recycling.
Okay. Other than some countries being clean, what was the best part about being in a different country?
Oh, I actually got to travel and actually meet different people and meet different people from different countries, because they had open borders so you can travel. All you needed was your military ID, and you can travel. I went to Italy, France, Switzerland, got to meet people, meet different people or natives of that of those countries, and then actually got to party in France. Go to a club, chill out, and have fun, and party all night. They had like this big behind building. They had a restaurant at the top and 4 clubs, and a bar was on the outside of every club on each floor. Which was awesome. We got to actually meet some French guys, talk to some of them, and I only understood a little bit because I had to speak a little bit of French. But
did they understand you?
Some of them did, some of them didn't. Some of them who spoke English did. Some of them who didn't, just like, oh, okay.
Just went along with it. It's like, I'm here in France, I'm gonna have fun. While you were in Europe, did you ever take that train that takes you to the different countries?
Oh yeah, this is called the ice train. Yes, I went to Prague on ice train. So I actually had fun. I went to Berlin on ice train too. And ice train is really fast. They wasn't lying. They have the regular trains and they have the ice train. The ice train is a little bit more expensive, but it takes you less time to get where you gotta go.
Would it be take like a lot longer? Like, is it worth paying the extra price?
Oh, it's worth paying extra prices. It don't take long at all to get you where you gotta go, and it's a straight shot.
Oh, okay. So no stops. Like you just go directly where you go.
Exactly.
Okay. So you said that while younger you faced racism and things like that. Did you ever get any of that in the military, even being like in your base or just in different countries?
No, it went from racism to being biased. That's what it went for me. It went from racism to being biased, because there's some males that I ran into in the military that just don't believe the females should be there. Waste of time, energy, money, and training. That's the way they felt. And I'm like, dang, it went from racism to being biased, being sexist. All right, here we go. Here we go with something else. So I went from one thing to the next, and I had to like prove myself, because I got put in all male units. So I had to prove myself to basically saying, okay, even though I'm a female, I can still hold my weight and pull somebody else's if need be.
Did you feel like it was a lot more pressure being a woman?
Yeah, it is, because of the simple fact that we are women in an all men's world. The military was started by men, created by men. We got in the military, I think, in the 1960s, 1970s, during World War I, World War II. World War I, we worked. We didn't actually join, and we did like factories and stuff. World War II, that's when the nurses and stuff came along, and then that's when they had the first 20 Flight Women's Brigade. And that's when the first war that they actually had women fighter pilots. In World War II, I actually talked to a woman when I got out the military who was a part of the 20 Airborne Brigade.
How was that for you?
It was different, but actually she was one of the ones who paved the way for me to actually do what I do, and I thanked her for it.
Okay. Well, kind of going back on that, like the military is known as a colorblind institution. Did you feel like it seemed colorblind, or did you feel?
Oh yeah, it was colorblind.
Okay.
It's colorblind. It was colorblind for me, because we just seen each other as green. Everybody in a uniform, so everybody's the same color.
Okay.
That's the way we seen it. There was no like racist type stuff going on. It wasn't any of that. It was more of the sexism.
Yeah, so it was just sexism.
Yeah, it's more of
which you don't want to deal with, but it's because you didn't have to deal with both.
Yeah, I didn't have to deal with both. Thank God for that.
Okay. What kinds of skills do you think the military gave you for your everyday life and career?
The 15 minutes prior thing, where you have to show up everything 15 minutes prior, because if you're on time, you're late, and if you show up early, you're on time. That's the way they taught us. And so I carry that, and actually making sure that I get to every place that I need to be on time if I don't forget. But and actually make sure all my paperwork and stuff is organized and stuff, so whenever I have an appointment or whatever, and that's the way they taught you to do when it comes down to your paperwork, because paperwork is gold in the military. Because if it's on black and white, that means they got no choice but to abide by it, because they breach your contract, you can get out. So they're going to try their hardest not to breach that contract.
Okay. Why did you leave the service?
Oh, I basically got tired. I did 2 deployments back to back. Really didn't have that much of a break because my break was PCSing.
Which is?
Going from one duty station to the next. And so that was my break. And then as soon as I got there, less than a month, I was going back through training. So when I actually reached my 3rd duty station, it was like no break in between, and he was about to go through training and go back over there. I was like, no, I need my DD-214s. I'll need to get out of here because y'all gonna drive me up the wall.
How do you go about leaving the service?
Oh, either you get in trouble or you get medically discharged. Or if you had it to that extent to where you can't take it and you talk to someone about it, you can get out that way too.
Okay.
So it's various different ways of getting out, or also like some of the females that I ran across basically use this as a cop out. They get pregnant and you can get a Chapter 35 and get out.
Okay.
So you don't have to stay in. You can actually choose to stay in or get out if you get pregnant. And some females actually choose to get out. Some females stay in. But majority of the time when that happens, they usually get pregnant around deployment time. Yeah, because there's a lot of females who don't want to deploy, so they use that to not have to deploy. Let's say we deployed for a year. You are pregnant for 9 months out that year. And then you have your baby, which you have at least 30 or 60 day leave, so that's 9-10 months. So by the time you get over there, deployment's almost over with. And that's the way they play it. They time it just like that, and that's the way they play it. And I've seen some females do that. I've never done that because like I said, seen it as a cop out. You join the military to fight and to protect your country and to protect the people in it. So if you're not going to do your job, why are you here?
Makes sense. After you left, what was the hardest part when it came to readjusting back to civilian life?
Oh, the people. The people and the resources. There was really no resources. In certain states, it's not any resources. In other states, it's a lot of resources. You just have to figure out which one you're willing to deal with. And when I got out, I stayed in Texas for a little while. And because I was in El Paso, Texas. That was my last duty station. Fort Bliss. And I stayed in Texas for about 6 months because me and this girl was getting out. But then the only reason why she was getting out because she was overweight. And I said, well, I can help you lose the weight if you want to stay in. And so I helped her lose the weight, and she needed to lose about 20 pounds. I helped her lose 30. Then she started treating me differently, and then moved out and left me with all the bills. Yeah.
After you helped her?
Yeah, after I helped her. You got a certain, and when it comes down to soldiers, it's like they're there for you for the most part, but when it comes down to certain things, we all have certain weaknesses to where we can't handle certain things. And so therefore we end up flaking out on one of our other battle buddies, even though it's not like on purpose or intentional. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, but it's up to you how you take it when it comes down to that. And the way I looked at it is like she screwed me over because I helped her and then she screwed me over. So I ended up moving back to North Carolina, and I stayed there for about 2 years and 4 months. Yeah, 4 months because I didn't stay the whole 6 months. It's 2014 when I left. But I tried getting a job down there. They didn't have any resources. They have like veteran transportation. If you don't have the money to get to your appointment, they could take you for free. But they didn't have any any veteran resources where I stayed at. So it's basically if you're homeless, you SOL. I'm sorry. It's basically how it was because they didn't have a homeless shelter down there either. And it was really no resources. And then when it comes down to food stamps, if you need food stamps, females, it's a lot harder for females to get food stamps down there in North Carolina because we're the ones that are prone to working and not the guys. The guys, it's easier for them to get food stamps and more than us. Wow. Yeah, so it wasn't like the best circumstances for me. And I actually tried moving out of my father's house. I went down there and stayed with him for a little while. Hopefully I was going to move out, but every time I moved out, I always ended up getting roommates that were trying to use me and use what my military benefits to suit them, and not to let it use it for me. And if I used it for me, they try to make me feel bad. Yeah, so
for using your own benefits.
But yeah, so therefore I had to turn around and moved in and out of my father's house for like 5 times. And then after that, I was like, okay, I gotta go because this is not working for me. And I said, you can't say I didn't give North Carolina a chance. My father said, well, yeah, I can, because you did give North Carolina a chance. If you didn't, I would actually say, if you stayed here for 6 to 8 months, he's like, yeah. Then I would say, no, you didn't. But you stayed here long enough and I watched you. You tried. He's like, so, no, I understand. And so when I left and I moved up here, that's when everything slowly but surely started falling in place. It's just the people up here that I have to adjust myself to.
Okay.
Because they're not as civilized.
In Massachusetts?
No, they're not. They're very mean compared to the South. Because even if they don't like you down there, and even if they are racist towards you, they still hold a conversation with you because they are scared what other people might think and say.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by civilized. Because
that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, and that's the way when we're a lot more friendly and more open to talking to strangers and talking to people and finding out how you're doing and everything else. But up here it's like, oh, I'm going this way. Why are you looking at me? This, that, and the third. And get out the road, I'm driving type deal. And da 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 da. And why are you across the street even though you're allowed to cross the street because the little white man came across the street. But no, you can't cross the street because I have to go type deal. I done dealt.
I see it. I definitely agree.
So the people up here is totally different from the people down south. So I have to adjust and adapt to the people up here.
Have you found better resources in Massachusetts?
Oh yeah, a whole lot more resources. Down to the point I was able to fight and get my my disability from my PTSD because they wouldn't do it down south. They say I didn't have enough evidence proving that I had PTSD, and I fought for it twice. And when I got up here, that's when I fought for it again, and I got it. And then I had a paper trail.
Yeah.
And then they was like, okay, well, you have this, this, and this. This is causing this. Okay, we're going to give you this rating. And it took me about 3 years to get that. It took me about a year to get my for my back, because they denied me the first time for my back. I fought for it and got it and got 10%. And I fought for my PTSD for the second and third time. And well, no, for the first time and the second time, and they denied me. And then I turned around and had to fight for that one again once I got up here, and I got it. And then I actually wanted to go back to school because I had the percentage. They turned around and it's like, okay, well, go ahead and talk to vocational rehab. And you can set up an appointment and actually speak to somebody instead of talking to an automated voice message over the phone that then takes about an hour to talk to an actual person. And that's how it is down south. But up here, you can actually go and talk to the people, make appointments and everything, and get stuff started and get stuff moving. So it's a lot more resources and available to me up here. I can actually say it like that.
Yeah, it's crazy that you have to like prove what you're going through for them to like validate it for you.
Exactly, but that's the way it is now because they don't want to give it to you. They want you. This is how it is when it comes. Because I done fought for mines like enough times to know that this is how it is when it comes down to you, whether it's regular disability for a civilian or military disability. When it comes down to it, they're going to deny you the first time, majority of the time. It's probably like 1 or 2 people depending on what type of lawyer they have to actually get approved the first time for disability. But the reason why they deny you the first time is hoping that you don't fight for it. So they won't have to pay you. But then you have people like me that just won't take no for an answer. Like, no, I'm not taking this. I already know what you did to me, so you're going to pay me. And I had to keep fighting for it. Now I got it, but yeah, I had to fight for it.
Okay, at least you have it. Is there a specific reason you chose Salem State?
Yes, it's a veteran-friendly university. It's one of the top 10 veteran-friendly universities.
Oh, I actually did not know that. Is there something that made you want to come back to school?
Oh yeah, when I got out and I tried to get a job, well, I did get a job in the culinary field. They were not understanding as I had an anxiety attack on the line. They told me not to bring my personal problems to work. Yeah. Yes. And then they had other employees screaming at me, cussing at me, and everything else, and they didn't do anything to amend it or correct it. But if I did that to them, they would actually write me up real quickly. So therefore, I had gave them my resignation, and I left, and I decided to come back to school because I had already had jobs previously before that one, and it was basically I got treated the same way down south and up here working in restaurants. Because of my PTSD, my anxiety, and my depression. They tell me, oh, you use that as a crutch, or you using that as an excuse. And no, it's a part of who I am now because I have it. You don't understand it, and you're not trying to. So you're just making false accusations.
Do you feel like people just don't understand mental illness, or that they just don't want to understand it? And
you got ones who want to understand it but scared to ask and talk about it. Then you got ones who don't care and just don't give two craps about it and be like, oh well, that's you. You need to get that fixed. That you need to work that out type deal. Then it's not something you can fix or work out. It takes years upon years for that to happen. Especially if you have stuff built up from like before and then turn around that's got added on. That's going to take years of resolving. And that's not something you can work over overnight. And that comes down to any mental illness stuff. And it's like you got people who do care, who actually are working in those fields to help. And then you got people who actually want to understand but scared to help, scared to ask. And then you got those who just don't want to and don't care. So it's like 3 different types of people out here when it comes down to that. When it comes down to mental illness that I've seen, I've noticed.
So you're studying social work, correct? And more specifically military social work?
Yeah.
What made you be like, this is what I'm gonna do? Because that's like a big jump from culinary.
Yeah, because I want to help people. I want to actually help veterans that actually that's gone through what I'm going through, or going through what I went through, and I'm letting them know, help them out, let them know, hey, it's a light on the other side. Just have to keep pushing, and that's what I want to let them know. Like, hey, I'm here to help, and yes, I am a vet, so I do understand.
Is there anything I didn't ask you about that you'd like to get out of the way? Like, are there any stereotypes about the military that you like can't stand and would like to like abolish or things like that?
Oh well, they actually working on that right now. Is the uniforms and the boots for the females, because they didn't actually have clothing for females when I first. No, they didn't. We had a clothing voucher, but $1,000 we got every 3 months. Because they didn't shoot anything to us except for the uniforms, the t-shirts, the PTs, the winter PTs, the shoe, well, not even the shoes, the boots. And so everything else we had to go buy. And when it came down to my first deployment, RFI issue, that's when they had just started issuing out sports bras and underwear to females. And then they cut our clothing voucher down to like $800. And now they're just, because it's like females, a lot of us that are actually complaining about the uniform, because I'm a small person. I actually get into a small uniform and I still have to use the drawstrings because it will fall off of me. And so those are problems that we had.
So they just didn't accommodate you guys, you just had to deal with it?
We had to. Made on down to the vest. I remember when we got the new vest, the smallest they had was a small. How about I'm short, I'm like 5'2", 5'3", and on top of that you handed me a small vest that can possibly be a medium. So that's almost like a dress on me. Yeah, so I'm like, no, I can't, no, I can't even, no, I'm not wearing this. I said, y'all gonna get me killed over there. Take this back. No, I don't want it. Give me the old vest. I'll take extra small and old vest. They was like, well, we don't discarded those. I said, well, I'm not going then, because you're gonna get me killed. And they said, well, we can order a extra small vest. And I was like, yeah, that would be better. And it was like about 8 of us that needed extra smalls. And we had to wait. And we got those like, I think, 2 days before it was time for us to leave.
Oh, that's unreal.
Oh, yeah.
You think you're there to serve and help them, that they want to accommodate you as best as possible.
Exactly.
Keep you safe.
Exactly, but no. It was like, oh, you just have to work it out. Do what you can do with that. Sorry. It's basically how it was. And I actually had to accommodate, because I remember we was out in NTC, and my company, they paid for our pay for our bags to go out to NTC. But me, I was smart. I packed up my whole bathroom and put it in my salt pack. So I was like, something's going to happen. I have a bad feeling something's going to happen. Something always happens. So I turned around. I had my PTs. I set in uniforms inside my salt pack, right along with all my personal hygiene, feminine hygiene, all that other stuff. So when I actually got there, they was talking about the bags not going to be there for 2 months. I was like, what the? And then they's like, no, it's going to be here within 2 weeks. It showed up. Their bag showed up the last week. I'm talking about everybody. All the females is using my personal hygiene stuff. I got so mad. I was like, I'm not going to have crap left by the time my bag show up. Why are y'all so irresponsible and didn't buy none of this stuff?
Well, at least you did.
But it was kind of, that's basically what we had to deal with when it came down to it. I had to resort down to buying because they didn't have they had a PX there. They didn't sell any female products, so I had to buy boy shorts, male boy shorts, and male boxers. Those are my underwear. Yeah, it was hard at first, but now they're actually, I recognize the women in the military. So the women that are joining today, they'll have it a hell of a lot easier than the rest of us. They'll have it so much easier because
it's kind of like you guys were the guinea pigs.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. It was the guinea pigs, but now the females that are coming in, they're actually gonna get stuff accommodated to them, which is great because that's what we were fighting for the longest time. And
well, it's kind of like the woman who paved the way for you, the one you met from World War II.
Exactly.
You did that for them.
Exactly. It's like they did that for us and we're doing that for them. So it's like a steady fight. But hopefully, in a couple of years, we'll be on the same level as men in the military. Hopefully.
Emphasis on the hopefully.
Yes.
Because it's been long enough
Exactly.
already.
Okay,
for my last question, I just wanted to know if you had any advice for anyone, especially women trying to join the Army.
Make sure you have tough skin and don't let any of them get to you, because it is going to be some sexist males. So just have some tough skin and roll with the punches. The best thing I can say, and that's how I did it. And I survived for 5 years. And I basically held my own. And when it was time for me to show what I can do, I showed what I can do, and I held my own at the same time. So you gotta be strong. That's one thing I can say. You have to be strong. You have to be strong-minded. You cannot be weak, because they will eat you alive if you are. And if you are weak, you shouldn't be joining the military. That's the advice that I have for them.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for meeting me.
No problem.
It was a pleasure interviewing.